Hi, I'm Paul. So in the last few videos that I've been making, I've been talking about the ego and the soul and the ever-presence. And I've been talking also about how the ego is, let's say, an illusion for now, or the way that the ego sees the world is an illusion, which we're going to come on to that very shortly. I want to describe a bit more what I mean by illusion. So when I talk about the ego, the soul, and the ever-presence, I also talk about the ego. Ego isn't actually real, but it does appear to be real. And also the soul isn't real, but it does appear to be real. And I believe it's just two different ways of viewing the outside world. But the ever-presence is the internal world. It's the never-changing, the ever-existing, the infinite universe, the infinite consciousness, whichever way you want to call it. And I described in the last video with this that the infinite would be the never-changing, the ever-present. So I described this in terms of it having a plant pot full of soil. And what comes out of the soil is essentially the illusion. It's not ever-present, it's not infinite. So let's say a plant comes out of the soil, and when it dies away again, it goes back into the soil. So if we describe the ever-present, the unchanging, as consciousness, the universal consciousness, then what comes out of the universal consciousness is just an appearance. Now that universal consciousness is what we are. Our essence, our true nature is the universal consciousness. We could also call this God, or even the Garden of Eden. I believe Adam and Eve was kicked out of the Garden of Eden for picking the fruit off the forbidden tree of knowledge. And I think this kind of suggests that picking the fruit of the forbidden tree of knowledge would be to seek knowledge. So Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden for seeking knowledge, which would be a description of the ego seeking. So saying that our true essence is just pure awareness, consciousness, all is one, all is God, then what comes out of that consciousness is only an appearance. It's an appearance to the mind, or appearance to the ego. So when I say an appearance, what I mean is, if you was to look at water, then there's ripples on the water. Then them ripples are only really an appearance. They are still the water, but it's a water appearing as a ripple. If we describe the water as the universal consciousness, which is what our true essence is, then what comes out of the universal consciousness is only an appearance. It's not fixed. And it also goes back into consciousness. So all the appearances that we have, like ego and the soul, and pictures and sounds and touch, thoughts, ideas, they're all an appearance out of consciousness. And we also go back into consciousness. But our true essence, pure awareness, is the only thing that's real. And it's all one. Mine and yours, all God. And when I say all of the appearances that we have come out of consciousness, or let's say, or energy borrowed from God, if I was to say to focus on one of them trees over there, what you're really doing is focusing on yourself. So that tree is only an appearance out of consciousness, your true essence. So what's really happening is the light hits a tree, bounces off the tree and hits your eyes. And your eyes send the signal to your brain. And your brain creates an image of what you think you see. That's just an appearance in the mind. An appearance out of consciousness. In the same way that the ripple is an appearance on the water, but the ripple is only the water. I mean, this also happens with sound as well. So sound is just an energy, a vibration, what hits your eardrums and sends a signal to your brain, and your brain creates an appearance of what you think you hear. This is the same as the ego. It's just an appearance of the I. And like I say, this appearance is a ripple on the water. But it's only the water what's the true essence, the true nature, the universal consciousness. So all appearances are all energy coming out of consciousness, borrowed from consciousness. Like our bodies come out of consciousness, energy borrowed from consciousness, and eventually will go back to consciousness. But our true essence still continues. But our true essence is the ever-presence, never-changing. And that never-changing, that ever-presence, universal consciousness, awareness, is all one. All the original source. It's only our ego that creates the appearance of separation. And that appearance is what I class as the illusion. But the illusion does make it sound a little bit confusing, so we're probably better off using the appearance instead. Anyway, thanks very much for listening.